Whew. That North Cardinal buoy there is marking another wreck, and you can actually see something sticking out of the water over there. Okay, I've got the boat in reverse. I'm drifting slowly backwards, just slowly. I'm going to drop the hook like this, set an anchor alarm, and then I'll let the boat bear away downwind afterwards. That went really well. The anchor set straight away there. I've not got as much chain out as I want, but first I'm just going to back onto the anchor with the engine and make sure it is really well set, and then afterwards I can let out a little bit more chain just to be doubly sure. There we go, 2,500 RPM. She's well dug in. We're not going anywhere. There is a transit there between this boat and the electricity pylon behind, and we're not moving at all. So that's beautifully set. I'm going to stick out another 10 metres and then I'm good to go for the night. There we are then. I've arrived, anchored nicely, all settled now, and I've sent a message to Rossella because she's always very concerned for my welfare. That was an interesting day again. Every day is a school day. But now it's time for me to go and get a brew. So let's have one last look around and then go and get ourselves a cup of tea. Not sure how well you can see this in the video, but there's a beached boat over there, and just over that way there is a pub, but I don't think I'll be getting the dinghy out to go and visit. It would be nice, you know, it'd be a lovely place to go and have a social chill, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get my backside home to Rossella and Emma as soon as possible. Well, I've been here a while, but I've not had a brew yet or any food because I've been doing something else. I've just temporarily fitted, a Ecomax EM230 radar reflector. I've got this little radar reflector. We got that as soon as we got the boat, just to kind of fulfill our legal requirements and have a very quick radar reflector on there. But I've read a magazine article where they said that this would be a good addition to a stealth bomber after their testing, especially mounted at that angle as well. So I've hoisted the EM230 up to a spreader there. That's way above 4 meters off the water, so that's good. We've seen big shipping come through here. I'm going to have my anchor light on, but that's up very high. It's up the mast, of course, so they might not see that. I'm going to have my deck light on, so that will illuminate my deck a little bit. So hopefully they'll see that, but just to be on the safe side, You saw the size of some of them ships there today, you know. Wouldn't be fun getting run down by one of those guys, so just to give me a really nice return on the radar, I've got that hoisted, and that will keep me safe while I'm anchored in this potentially dodgy area. And there's a nice weather front over there which appears to be inbound, but that's not going to concern me too much this time because I'm going to be inside the boat all cosy. What are you eating, Emma? Oh, cucumber! Wow, yummy! Yummy, yummy cucumbers, delicious. Daddy's talking to Emma while making a cup of tea. And outside, there's a very nice sunset. So all is well in the world, isn't it, Emma? All is well in the world. I've just tied the spare main halyard up out of the way because it was hitting the mast and annoying me. So that's sorted. And look what's going on inside here. I'm going to put food on now. I've not even drunk any of my tea yet, I've been here for ages. And in the background, live, I've got Rossella and Emma. Hi! So basically we've got like WhatsApp video on. Ciao! We've got WhatsApp video on, and while I'm doing stuff here and while Rossella and Emma are there, we are kind of, it's like we're in the same room, isn't it? We're kind of almost in the same room together, so it's really nice. So, nice big sleep tonight, but first I've got lots of planning to do. The passage planning takes absolutely ages for me, because I'm not really very experienced. It takes me a very long time to work out where I'm going and when. You know, looking at various different weather sources, the tide, times and heights. There's a lot to think about for a novice. So it keeps me on my toes, it keeps me extremely busy. I've also got a GoPro SD card to download because it's full. So I've got that to do, and I'm a very, very busy boy. Well, we really do have some gourmet food on the go tonight. Got some roast chicken which I bought, which I'm just reheating there. Got some broccoli which I'm steaming underneath the plate, which is at the same time being heated. And the other chicken breast, I'm going to keep that in this Tupperware box. I'm going to make some pasta tonight so that I've got another meal on the go tomorrow. In the meantime, Rossella and Emma are on in the background.
A new gale warning for sea area Dover. This is VHF channel 64. This is Dover Coast Guard.
Well, several hours later, I've pretty much finished my passage planning now. One nice thing, I'm not going to show you me by the way because I'm in my pyjamas and you don't want to see that, so I'll just talk. The nice thing was, for about an hour and a half, I was with Emma and Rossella via video call, so it was really, really nice. It's so good to have decent internet that you can use when you're at anchor. It makes such a big difference to your life. So I've been doing my passage plan. The way I do it, and this is by no means a how-to because I am learning this myself, but just to share my technique, I basically start off looking at where I want to go, and then you work out the distance, the big picture, you know. Then you need to obviously understand if there's a tidal gate, you know, if you're going into a harbour that's, you've only got access to certain states of tide, you need to work backwards from there, that kind of thing. Then I've been looking at the weather on windy. Tomorrow is okay, and the wind builds, and then the day after it's going to be 40 knots in the vicinity to where I'm going. And my past experiences have taught me, especially sailing in the Med, that if you've got 40 knots forecast there and you're not very far away from it, don't trust that it's going to be exactly there. It may move and may hit you. We've had that happen to us before. It's probably a good chance for me to go into Ramsgate rather than anchor out. You know, you could potentially anchor out. You're in the lee of the land, so the waves won't be too bad. But there are different considerations in doing that, which put me off. Basically, the wind starts out westerly, but it ends up more northerly. So if I was to anchor here in the anchorage area, the breakwater becomes a lee when you've got 40 knots forecast. So it's not really very sensible. You could anchor potentially, there's nothing to stop you, I don't think, anchoring up here out of the marina, and then you've got you clear if when the winds are blowing that way and when they swing around a little bit more to the north. So, you know, you could do it, but it's probably a good chance for me to go in, have a nice hot shower and get some more supplies. And then other things, the tide. So I know how long it's going to take me to get there, more or less. I'm using 4 knots as a passage planning speed, which is very, very slow, but that's me, I'm slow, so that's okay. And I'd rather have to slow down to get somewhere rather than trying to always be in a rush, because then that's when things go wrong. So I'm planning on 4 knots, and I want to try and make the use of the tide. This is a cheap tablet, and this is Navionics. If I go onto this tidal information section, then it shows me now there's a fair current to go, but I'm not going now, I'm going to bed now. Then here's the time. So if I leave tomorrow at about 9 o'clock in the morning, then I'm going to have 0.8 or 0.9 of a knot of current against me. But that's okay, because it's going to be wind over tide, so that builds waves, but in here it's sheltered. I'd rather do that. I'd rather punch the tide for the beginning, and then I get a big lift later on. When I get over here, this kind of area, then you start to get 1.3 knots favourable current taking me towards my destination, and then by the time I come around North Fall in this kind of area here, then there'll be a favourable tide taking me down towards Ramsgate. So that's the plan. I'm going to leave around about 9 o'clock in the morning, and hopefully tomorrow will be a good day. So if you want to find out how tomorrow goes, then tune in for our next video. In the meantime, leave a comment below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think of these videos. And if you want to help us to make more videos in the future, you can do so at patreon.com/sailingbritally. And we're talking about literally loose change, $1 per month, which sounds like nothing, but to us means everything, because, for example, this main camera here, I've dropped it twice in the last 2 days filming these videos, doing things that I wouldn't normally be doing. If it wasn't for me making these videos, I wouldn't have the camera out, so I wouldn't be dropping it, and I wouldn't have to buy a new one just like I did a little while ago. So it really is, you know, I'm happy to put my time into this. I love it. It's a real passion of mine. The number of hours I spend behind the screen, if you knew, you'd think I was crazy, literally. The editing takes forever. But I don't want to be out of pocket as well, you know. I'm giving. At some point, there has to be a limit to what I do. So I really do appreciate it. We do as a family. If you want to help us out, that would be appreciated muchly. You can even get yourself a Sailing Britaly baseball cap. These are only available to our patrons. So it's Sailing Britaly on the front, our logo, and then the back it says crew or producer, depending on which level you choose. That's one example of things that our patrons get. You get lots of access to us that other people don't. It's a much more kind of deep relationship that we have with our patrons. So if you want a little bit of that and you want to help us keep making these videos, check it out. Okay, thank you very much indeed, and we'll see you soon.